Think about this in terms of other transitions. So maybe in life you became an empty nester. I like to use that one because it's fresh for a lot of us. And so I thought, boy, when the kids leave, maybe I'll feel more ambitious or I'll feel like I want to do something exciting. In a lot of cases I did. But then once those transitions came and the kids were gone, it kind of felt flat. I missed them. I wish I still had that engagement of being a dad all, day to day. I still was a dad, of course. I still am a grandfather now. And those challenges of dealing with their emotions and their lives was super fulfilling. I got a lot of joy from that. And so that thinking it's going to be something great on the other side in a lot of cases tends to fall flat. And the reason is that we just don't retire from being human. The dissatisfaction that you might feel is very normal. So I think what we should consider is focusing, instead of retiring to something lazy or retiring to something that we didn't plan on, is to retire to intentional living, because that internal engine is never going to shut off. So what we have to do is find new ways to feed it. The other danger that we face is that a lot of people spent decades basically restricting their emotions. We've been postponing fun. We've been not dealing with our health or our wellness. We haven't focused much on curiosity or creativity because we've been doing our work, towing the line, building a business, whatever it is. But all these other facets of our life, our essence as human beings, a lot of times we haven't been building those up. We haven't been focused maybe on self-improvement or reflection. A big part of the journey that I've seen clients go through is better understanding themselves. And when they do that, in a lot of cases it happens to us later in life because we just haven't had time to think about it. We've been busy raising our families. And so we look back to say, well, really, who am I? And part of that journey is that we get to find out what's going to fulfill us in retirement. We know that going to work day to day really brings us a lot of fulfillment. We've got to be ready for what's going to happen when that isn't there any longer. And having some of that time for self-improvement and reflection and really saying, what makes me tick? Who am I? Where am I going to find a lot of joy? That switch is not just going to get turned on day one. That's why we call this the 59.5 rebellion. That's when we want to start planning for what this looks like and better understanding who we are and how we function and what things really inspire us, give us those dopamine hits. We need to know that stuff so we can begin to plan for, this is the new part of the journey and this is where I'm going to find that. Because some experience some boredom, some regret, they develop some bad habits along the way. Freedom can feel very uncomfortable when you've trained yourself for productivity. I'll say that again. Freedom can feel very uncomfortable when you've trained yourself for productivity. I've also seen this definitely be a struggle for men. And so many men have spent decades being providers, builders, problem solvers. Success to them becomes a scoreboard in a good way, and work becomes really proof that I'm useful, I'm needed here. And so retirement can quietly trigger some questions like, am I still relevant? Do I matter? Where do I contribute now? And these questions are normal. But for the men out there, I see many times where they've pulled the trigger on retirement and they're calling me within 6 months to figure out something else. We need a new plan. This isn't going for me. And that's why in the 59.5 rebellion, we test drive this. We try it out earlier. Because what most people actually want is, they don't want retirement, they want freedom. Cue the Mel Gibson freedom speech from Braveheart, whatever it is, but we want that freedom of, I don't on Monday have to go do something if I don't want to. The Sunday night stress, I know I feel this, of all the things that are coming on Monday. We don't want that anymore. We want that freedom. So it's not always about stopping. It's not always about ending one thing.